everyone, George here, and what I'd like to do today is bring to you it's not an after action report. I know that you see scenario P as in Papa, the road to Wilts up there, but as a matter of fact, what I really want to talk to you about is just a little ramble, a little rant about mines, roadblocks, and wire. Basic fortifications, right? So let's begin with mines. Now, basically speaking, there are two types of mines, anti-personnel and anti-tank mines. And everybody is practically familiar with these two types of mines. Now, in squad leader, advanced squad leader, you also go into known minefields, unknown minefields, daisy chains. There's quite a bit involved, but not a lot, really. It all falls into at least 4 or 5 paragraphs. But here, what I want to talk about is basic anti-personnel mines, basic anti-tank mines, a bit of booby traps, wire, and roadblocks. So just a high-level discussion. And what inspired me is really playing recently scenarios that involve these fortifications, as we call them in Advanced Warrior. And more importantly, I was also inspired by um, the classic scenario, The Road to Wilts. Now, speaking of the classic scenario, The Road to Wilts, it was the 12th scenario of the first module of Classic Squad Leader. And I remember playing it um, as far back as 1980 in my little squalid apartment where I was still a high school student living with my parents, and just spreading 4 boards from one end of the living room to the other, practically having my own little space in the living room with 4 boards placed down. We played maybe 2.5, 3 hours worth of game, because in the classic scenario there was um, 4 boards as opposed to 2. This is the version, the Advanced Warrior version, that was converted to Advanced Warrior by Jim Stoller. So what was interesting about that was it's about the scenarios about the early stages of the Battle of the Bulge. As you can see, it takes place in December. When exactly? December 18th, right? And the Germans are advancing onto Wilts. And in the American OB, we have a few roadblocks, actually one, some wire, and some mines, and um, a very skimpy amount of troops. Here we got, I don't know, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 to 16, 16 German. And slowly more German squads arrive, and a heck of a lot of armor. So good use of mines, roadblocks, and wire will do a, a world of good. Now, in Advanced Warrior, anti-personnel mines can come into play um, in 3 types of firepower factors: 6, 8, and 12. However, you do not reveal the strength until it makes a difference in the outcome. So basically, when you look at the Vassal counter, and on the cardboard game, basically what is happening is that you're recording your mine factors off board, but there's actually a counter. And when we look at the counter, we're just going to put it there. There we go. I'm going to zoom in so everybody can see it. Zoom in. Use the zoom in button. Come on, George. A little bit more. And I'm going to center it. So on Vassal, pretty much, you can right click and select strength, and we'll toggle between 6, 8, 12. Now, where do you find that on the fire table? On the fire table, if you're using the official fire table and not the red charts, table A7, you'll see certain symbols and whatnot. Now, I made my own version in Excel, so bear with me. I am going to reveal it to you. So here's my Excel sheet for Advanced Wild Leader, and I keep certain electronic records of certain charts and whatnot. It's for personal use. I don't sell it, and it kind of helps me fill out or determine certain math. I'm very pro technology, and this is nothing new actually. I was just perusing through an old general magazine, and somebody had written a program with respect to, how we have the PDF now. Well, they had a little tiny program. It was probably a database, and you could look up rules and whatnot using an electronic copy. And it was not a PDF, but still, it was interactive. Um, this kind of serves the same thing. So I have a PDF. Now, I've tried two different combinations, and I know Neil Yulin has created something to this effect as well. Um, and I by no means tried to copy him. Now, over here, what I started doing was creating footnotes as to put opposed to the symbols, and I'll show you what I mean by symbols. Um, so again, this is not finished, but um, here's what's going on. So anti-tank mines are resolved on the 36 table, and the least minimum result you can get um, is an immobilization. And I'm pretty sure I had actually detailed. I'm pretty sure I've done something more detailed than this, but nah. Anyway, and here are the AP mines. AP minefield 6, 6, 8, and 12. These are the other equivalents, which is the AP equivalent, ATR, a mole, meaning multi cocktail, and whatnot. But again, um, what you need is chart A7. And chart A7, well, let's take a look at chart A7 since I do have the electronic electronic book. So here you have chart A7, and as you can see, there are little symbols next to the effects, and over here you got AP minefields. And back in the day when you're typing these type of things on a typewriter as opposed to using a computer, I would have, I would, you know, expect this to be um, acceptable. But these days with a computer, you can do a heck of a lot of a better job. And then there's the thing about accessibility. So as you can see, AP mine fields are on the 6, 8, and 12 fire infantry fire table. Those are the uh, three types of mines that you can have. And the AT mine is on the 36 table. And these symbols actually reveal to you different results that it can occur. And typically, when I'm playing with my opponent and he uses a flamethrower, he comes up with a result, or he throws HE, an indirect round, I can more or less instantly, depending on which one I'm looking at, am I looking at the electronic one with the magnification here, I can see that this mauve dot stands for Original Concentrated HEFFE Aerial Bomb Effects DR removes AP-AT minefields, right? Um, and here's the rule B28.62 and or wire B26.52. So right off the bat, I have a little hint as to what I can do to remove items that are blocking me. So I would need, uh, if I'm looking at the most circle, uh, even a battalion mortar could possibly remove my wire and reduce the strength of my mines. Things that you need to look out for. So you might be saying, oh, it's an 80 millimeter battalion mortar. What's it going to do? It's not going to create any shell holes for me. But conceivably, if these fortifications are there, guys, I'm drinking water. It's not Uzo or Iraq or Sambuca, whatever. It's water. All these fortifications are hip, completely blind, recorded off board for you. But you need to know this information in order to hit your dice, roll it, make sure that if there are any mines or wire in there, um, they're gone, possibly. Well, it's a very low roll, but just the same, important. So, mines, uh, factors for anti personnel 6, 8, 12. Do not forget. Now, um, let's go back to this. And they're set up hip. You do not have to reveal their strength, and you can exchange certain mines for um, AP. No, AT. So AP can be exchanged to a certain extent up to um, AP. In turn, you can also exchange them for booby traps. So let's unhit this. In this scenario, 21 factor mine. So you can have 8 plus 8 is 16, 12 plus 12 is 24, but you can't have two factors of 12 because that would exceed the limit of 21. So I gather that um, I always like to go with the lowest factor because it's a flat attack. So let's say 6, 6, 12 plus 6 is 18, and the remainder you can exchange them um, for anti-vehicle mines or AT mines. Yeah, so let's create a six-factor mine and talk about a bit about six-factor mines, okay? Or just anti-personnel mines. I just want to clone this, and computer's acting up again, guys. This is I don't think this is a vassal error. It's just the interaction between um, let's between different technology. All right, so I got a six-factor mine. I'm gonna get rid of the label. This is just a part of the SSF. Say okay, and put this guy back in the kit. Not that I'm going to save it, but the question is, where can you put mines? And there are restrictions. Paved roads is a no-no. There are certain exceptions for known minefields, and there can be exceptions by SSR. But you would think that ordinarily you can't put mines inside buildings, and you would be correct. But you can certainly put them in building exteriors. Now, how would that work? Um, Here we got a building, and let's say I have an unknown minefield here, and do not reveal, and hip it. There you go. Now along comes one of my opponents, and lo and behold, let's put in a 467. Give him a light. not 8 minus 1 liter. Let's call the liter, um, let's call it Mayer. There's Lieutenant Mayer. He's coming along. Notice there's ground snow, and there might be some modification due to ground snow with respect to that. Hey, come on, Mayer. Get it back in there. Things have happened. So let's remove the moves. All right, he's coming down the road, and uh, let's say he declares assault move or non-assault movement, and he comes to the um, tree line here, but he wants to take cover in the wooden house because it affords better cover, and he goes two to there. Now you're the owner of that minefield. What are you going to tell your opponent? You're going to tell your opponent, stop, you just encountered a mine. He's going to ask you, oh yeah? How many mine factors are there? Well, you let him know that you've read the rule book. I'm not going to give you the rule book reference. Sorry. Um, you're going to read it on your own. You're not telling him, well, it will only make a difference only if the results differ on the 6, 8, and 12 table. Now let's roll for that. It's going to be a 6 flat attack. My opponent doesn't know about that. So let's see what we're going to roll. We're going to roll in the IFT. And, well, you can see it. I rolled an 8. Let me adjust the screen so you can for sure see it going forward. So I rolled an 8 on the 6 table. There's no modifications to it. Let's take out the chart and see uh, what is a 6 on the 8 or 8 on the 6 table. So here is the 6 table. I rolled an 8. It's a pentash check. It's a pentash check. Here it's a normal. Here it's a 1 check. Now you as the German player know that he has a 6 factor mine there. Because if it wasn't a pentash check, for the 8 and 12 table, it would have been either a normal or a 1 check. So it was possibly, excuse me, the worst possible roll I could roll. And task check, first for Mayer, passes, and then for the squad pins. So in the advancing fire phase, that's going to have probably an effect on it. Here things have happened. Okay, now as long as those units remain um, in that building, there's no effect to them. Now, if they break and they have to route, or they want to advance out, then then um, they'll incur a mine attack because the mines are considered to be on the open ground around the building. Similarly, here, let's say Mayer was not in this location, but he was somewhere in board. We bring the mines along. Thank you very much. Let's see if we can manage this. Here's my minefield. Bring it over. Here's the building that I'm looking for. Let's say he stumbled into the minefield here. in U6. I'm going to center it for you guys. Bear with me. Be patient. Okay, so he stumbles in the minefield here. He incurs the attack, um, and he survived it. Let's say he did not even pin. So basically, at this juncture here, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Let's delete that pin. Okay, he's in this hex. He just moved into it from D6 to T to U6. He incurred the attack. There was no effect. Should he decide to continue, either upstairs one level or across to T6, he will not incur a minefield attack. However, if he, let's put him back to U6. However, if he wants to leave that building, exit from U6 to T5, he will incur a 6 flat attack. So let's do that again. 5 on the 6 is a very serious morale check, I believe. Let's take a look at that as well. 5 on the 6 table is a 1 check, a 1 morale check. So we need to roll a 7. Breaks, does not LR, and breaks. So that's the short and tall of it. I'm not going to go into clearing, but a AT mine can be just as serious. Seriously, an AT mine can be just as serious. So with an AT mine, keep in mind that there are some factors um, involved. However, if you have uh, a two factor mine, basically you have to roll a 1d6. You roll 2 or less. It is a mine attack, and then you roll a 2d6 on the IFT, and you see the effect on the IFT table. And in this case, a 9 would be just an immobilization. I'm looking at my table, but typically you would look at this table and see that 9 has these double dagger. And if you take a look at the AT attack DR, immobilizes AFV or eliminates a star vehicle. The orange circle says AT attack mine DR eliminates AFV or burns a um, a truck. And then there is an instance where it causes a burning wreck for an AFE as well. Look out for that. Now with mines, that's half the battle. You also can have very effective roadblocks, and if you use roadblocks in combination with mines, then you are a very devious player, or a very cunning player, and probably a player that uh, ends up on the winning side. My apologies for these little technical difficulties. I probably need to restart my computer. This is part and parcel of Windows 11, I suppose, the Windows 11 operating system. Whoa. Okay, let's get that roadblock out there on board 2. In this particular scenario, there's ground snow. So for ground snow, the effect is if units want to go to higher ground, they'll pay one, if infantry units want to go through higher ground, um, there is uh, one movement factor extra. And um, and for vehicles, impediment um, is the impediment is if you go into vehicular bypass, there's an extra movement point penalty there. Now you have to be careful how you place um, your roadblocks because I am so disappointed with the lag here. I mean, at one point or another, I never had problems with Vassal or using Vassal with my video recorder, but lately all sort of things have been happening. We'll see. Okay, I just want to give you an overview of the map here and show you uh, how roadblocks work or don't work. All right, so with a roadblock, you might say, "Oh, look, I'm putting this. I'll put this roadblock here, and it's between a building and woods, and I'm hunky dory." And if you do dare put your roadblock in that location, all the person will do is basically take his vehicle and go right through it with no impediment whatsoever. So let's take a vehicle here. Let's get that beautiful Stug up there. Now, I'm not going to cover the double roadblocks that were introduced with the hassle of St. Mary d'Eglise because it's basically, I haven't touched it yet. I hope to do so. All right, so here's my vehicle. His covered arc is facing this way. Okay, I start for one. I go two, two, three, right through this hex because my opponent kind of didn't understand the rules to roadblocks. Back to O2 we go. How can we prevent this tank from going around? Well, I certainly cannot block it at this hex because if I'm facing this direction, this is where the roadblock is facing. I'm going to use some. Um, if I turn the covered arc of this roadblock, it's still not good. Because basically it would go to here to here. Now, if I put this roadblock a little bit further down and said, okay, here's my roadblock. Now this is, oops, here we go. This is an effective way of putting roadblocks because basically what this entails is that we'll use some map annotations here, straight arrows or curved arrows. Nope. How about perimeter lines? So what this roadblock entails is there's a roadblock along this X side, and it stretches to the half hex side here, like so. This is delirious. Let's try again. Try and draw it instead. So you guys get the idea. I have an app for that. There you go. So let's put the map annotations aside. Basically, here is um, my here is my where it ends up being blocked. Right? So it's from the middle of this X side to that. I hope you can see it. So this would be a better um, place to put it. Now, let's say we put this roadblock in S2. Everybody can see S2. This is fine as well because it forces everything to be um, from here to there. But I'm guessing that in this point here, the tank can possibly um, bypass around here and there, and just completely bypass um, the roadblock, but it's still a very costly move. Bypassing along the north side of T1 because the roadblock only goes from the center dot of T1 to the center dot of S4. So you need to be careful. Um, Now, with respect to wire, if that roadblock was wire, um, it, infantry units could bypass the wire through S1. Now, where else could you put wire? Well, you could put wire as well inwards, and essentially what that does is it makes routing to that location harder. It does not make it impossible because units that are broken can route wire um, through wire the same way as they would otherwise move through it. Um, but it does pose an impediment. Guys, I am 34 minutes into the um, video, and I thought, and I made notes here. Um, I didn't cover everything. I might have to do a part two to this video. Um, well, but at 34 minutes, I'm having some technical difficulties moving counters around again. I have no idea why. I apologize for that. Um, However, for a high level preliminary introductory video, I think it's sufficient for now. It'll give me some opportunity to give you a more refined look at mines, roadblocks, and wire, and perhaps do an individual video about that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd like to tell you also on another different note that I am trying to sell some squad leader cups. So I'll give you um, the link to the eBay page. I'm selling them through eBay because I really want to keep it safe. And for those of you that are wondering, um, I did get permission. Um, did get permission from Roger McGowan to produce 10 of these cups. They're worth about $20 American or 28 Canadian. I know it's pretty hefty, but the proceeds are going to go to fund my younger son's education because he wants to pursue um, basketball and football, a career in sports. And for that, here, there is an extra fee. Forget the universal and free education system that is circulating in the misinformation circles of the government. We do pay taxes for our education over and above uh, our income tax, um, as you may know. So it ain't easy, but I really want to do everything I can to help my son succeed. I promised the proceeds would go to him. There's 10 cups only, and by the looks of things, I'm going to um, have to reinstate the auction. That's all I got for you guys now. For now, again, I'm really humbled by the fact that more people have subscribed. Um, I don't know what to say other than thank you so much for your support, um, and I hope that I deserve your viewership and support. I'm doing the best I can, but from time to time, technical issues arise. For example, last week, the second take on the audio, despite having a new mic, the echo re- uh, resurfaced. I don't know what happened. It's really, excuse me, strange. So thank you for your patience and support. Stay healthy, stay well, enjoy life, play, and as Dan Podcaldi says, be kind, everyone. Take care.